Welcome everybody. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a wonderful Memorial Day. I am Lee Godbold with Junk Removal Authority. As we do every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 noon Eastern, we bring you Making Hay with JRA. Junk Removal Authority, you can check us out at JunkRA.com. Please, if you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, please subscribe below. If you are on YouTube, but you're not on Facebook, check us out on Facebook. Search for Junk Removal Authority on Facebook. We got some good content we put up there from time to time, and we'll hopefully be picking up on that some more as well as we move forward. Junk Removal Authority is one of the best in the business at SEO and pay-per-click management for junk removal businesses. It's all we do. So for the most part, other than we do a few moving campaigns and like a dumpster campaign, everything's around the moving, junk removal, dumpster rental industry. So if you're in those three businesses and you're looking for SEO and pay-per-click management, those are our three areas of expertise at the moment when it comes to getting you jobs online. So check us out at JunkRA.com or call us at 919-617-1975. So today, one of the most critical things for your business to grow your service business and to obtain size, to get it beyond just you, is hiring. And hiring is also one of the most difficult things that people encounter. So on one of the Facebook groups I'm a member of, somebody posted a message out the other day talking about the difficulty they've had hiring. They tried Indeed, they didn't have a whole lot of luck with Indeed. They tried Craigslist, not a whole lot of luck. They've tried Facebook, not a whole lot of luck. And about 3-4 months ago, we were in the same boat with our junk removal company, Junk Doctors. We were struggling to hire people. So we had to really revamp our hiring process. It used to be for a long period of time we could staff up and we didn't have to be very aggressive. We had the applicants actually have to pursue us. Well, now the roles have changed. The roles have reversed. So I think unemployment this past Friday came out. National unemployment, I believe, was 3.7%. Some reason 2.7 sounds familiar, but I seriously doubt it's 2.7. I think it came out, it was 3.7% national unemployment. Some areas of the country are lower than that. So that means there's crazy amount of people out there that are working. You know, almost everybody that wants to work is. So the people that you're going to be hiring, you're going to have to really go after, because every employer out there is in the same boat you are. They're really having to pursue employees. So that means you get that resume through, you got to act fast. So we're going to touch on how we go about getting these people hired. We're staffed up in Raleigh, Charlotte, and Greensboro. We need more trucks, but in terms of people, we're staffed up for the amount of trucks that we have right now. So let's roll into the process. Guys, if you have any questions whatsoever about hiring or anything else relevant to the junk removal or home service business that I might be able to be of help, then please pose them in either Facebook or YouTube, and Aaron, who's running the show back there, will relay them over to me and we'll get those questions answered. When you're first getting started, we're going to cover a couple different phases of the junk removal business. We're going to start at the point where you just are getting going. I recognize a lot of the people that watch our channel are brand new to the business, or they're looking to get into the business, and they're trying to just soak up as much information as they possibly can. So hiring when you're just getting started, number one, I recommend never doing jobs by yourself. And there's plenty of people out there that do jobs on your own. I did quite a few when we first started. The very last job I ever did by myself was a customer's name was Michael Jordan in Durham. It wasn't the Michael Jordan. The guy had a bunch of fence panels, and I was loading them into the trailer, and one of the panels slipped and it had a nail that stuck out, I don't know, probably 3-4 inches. And that nail just gashed my leg all the way down. And if I'd had an assistant, somebody helping out, then both ends of this panel would have been picked up. It wouldn't have fallen and hit my leg. Not that injuries are never going to happen when you don't have somebody helping you, but they are a lot less prevalent if you've got somebody giving you a hand. So anyway, that was the very last job I ever did on my own, was that particular job. So I really recommend go ahead and find somebody else. In addition to the chance of you getting injured going up, it also looks less professional. Oftentimes you're having to ask customers to give you a hand. Nothing looks like an amateur than having to ask a customer who hired you to get rid of the stuff to help you take that particular item out to your truck and trailer. It's less You got the higher chance of injury. You're never sure exactly what you're going to encounter in these jobs. So when you get a job description, you say, this sounds like something I can do on my own. And all of a sudden you show up and you realize the customer description was completely opposite than what was described. And that's when you got to ask that customer to give you a hand. Again, it just looks extremely unprofessional. And it wears you out, guys. Especially if you're in the boat where you don't have a dump vehicle, your trailer doesn't dump, your truck doesn't dump, you're having to hand unload. That hand unloading and that hand loading gets to you when you're on your own. So we really, really, really recommend you steer away from doing jobs on your own, and you only do them on your own if you're really in a bind. Hiring friends. This is normally one of the ways a lot of junk removal businesses start up, and it was a way that I more or less started. So I started on my own, and I get some friends to kind of sub in here and there when I needed a hand. It seems like an excellent idea because you're like, hey, I like these guys. They like me. I can trust them. What you're going to find out is hiring friends to work for you is an extremely great way to lose that friend. So it's just not all the time. There are some exceptions to that rule, but for by and large, that friend is not going to look at you as a boss, and you may or may not look at them as an employee. And very seldom is a relationship like that going to work in business. You got to have one person that's in control. Very, very seldom is it going to work where two people, it just seems like nobody's in control. They just do what they're supposed to do. If you encounter that situation, that's great, but it's very, very, very rare. So, that's one of the reasons we recommend not doing friends. And guys, your friends are just not going to take the job as serious. They might show up late. The dress code, they might not buy into the dress code. They think they can get away with stuff that somebody else you hired would not think they could get away with. They're not going to take it as serious because, again, you're their friend. You're not their boss. They might get angry that you are keeping most of the money. They figure they're putting in half the effort. You're their friend, so you should be sharing it with them. And a lot of this is oftentimes you're just not going to treat your friends the same as well. You're not going to manage them as closely. Your expectations aren't going to be as high because, again, they are your friend. So if you're going to go this route, what I recommend doing is just doing it on an as-needed basis and pick somebody that is pretty trustworthy. If there's a job or two that you need a hand on because somebody else you hired is unavailable or let you down or didn't show, or you're doing that route where you're trying it on your own, you can use that friend on an as-needed basis. I would not use him as like a full-time employee. I would hire outside of your group of friends for that full-time employee, and you maybe use some of your friends to kind of fill in the gaps. We got any questions or anything, Aaron? See you guys again. Just post any questions at all you have. Please leave them on YouTube or Facebook. We'll make sure we address them. Tell us some of your horror stories about hiring. Those of you guys that have employees, I guarantee you've had some issues with them in the past. So I know one of our watchers, Blake with Junkco, had a truck wreck the other day. So, I'm not sure the circumstance on that, but we've all had some employee issues or whatever. Talk about some of those issues you've had and how you addressed them, and then that way you can kind of help educate everybody else as well. So, hiring others. When you're going out, there's a couple different considerations here. Number one is, do you have some extra cash? So if you're like somebody that went out and you bought a JRA business package, the $10,000 business package that kind of gets you to, it helps you learn what took us 5 or 6 years to learn. You have on day one. You got the operations manuals and the website and the video training and testing series and on-site training and ongoing consulting, so on and so forth. If you're one of those people that went out and bought that package, chances are you've got some excess cash, so you can approach this differently than somebody that had to bootstrap it. We had to bootstrap it, so we had to basically every single dollar we paid out, we had to get back in operations from the very get-go. And there's many, many people that are like that. If you're not in that situation, you've got an advantage. Let's talk about the bootstrap way first, and then let's talk about the JRA way. Those of you guys that are lucky enough to work with JRA, what we recommend if you bought one of our business packages. So I go back, you can use random help. If you're bootstrapping, you can use random helpers from time to time. Those could be your friends. Those could be maybe some day laborers that you come across if you trust them. You got to remember, you're going to people's houses here, and your reputation's on the line. It could be friends of your friends. You just have to get creative and try and kind of locate people to kind of help you out from time to time. And then we would recommend really going with somebody with some part-time guys. So you don't need to hire full-time people when you go into this. There's plenty of college kids. There's plenty of people that have another job they are looking for that second job or looking for a job to work throughout college. My recommendation is have them, it doesn't work very well. Let's say you have an individual that works a night job or works a morning job and they're looking to work in between. You really need, when junk removal, you need an entire day that can be dedicated towards your business, because you don't have, it's not like you're running a store where you have a set start time and a set end time. This day could run kind of short or it could run extremely long. So that's the issue you've got with part-time guys in junk removal. So what you really need is, if they're in class, they need to have class like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, be able to work with you Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or some variation thereof. Maybe they're available Monday, Wednesday, Friday for you, and then they are in class Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or just Tuesday and Thursday. Whatever it works out, that you need consistent availability from them. And then what you're actually going to do is you're going to try and get a couple guys that kind of fill in that availability completely. And until you're able to do that, there's going to be times you're going to be unavailable for jobs. So what you want to try and do is actually schedule your appointments around the availability of your help, of your employees. If you're able to do that, that's a great way to consolidate the labor hours you have that you're paying these guys within time frames where you actually have work. When you go about it the JRA way, there's going to be times where these guys are working without any income coming in. They're going to be doing marketing efforts on your part, but you want to make sure you keep them busy. What you're trying on this route, and even the JRA way, you'll do this a little bit, you want to try and consolidate your hours within work. So you'll schedule jobs around the availability of your team members. When you're going about it the JRA way, when you're not having to bootstrap, you got a little bit of advantage going in because you got some extra cash. One of the first thing you got to do is you got to make sure you're doing pay-per-click. You're doing SEO. You're doing Yelp. You're doing Home Advisor. You're doing some mailing advertising. You're doing Facebook ads. You got a lot going on, because what you want to do is you want to fill up that pipeline as quickly as possible with customers in order to keep those guys busy. You'd rather spend the money on advertising than spend the money on labor for no income coming in. Because what happens is when you take this advertising and you're getting customers in, you're building your business at that point. You're starting a snowball that's just going to build and build and build the more you roll downhill, the more time passes. Because what happens is every customer you get is going to use you again, or good chance they're going to use you again. They're going to leave a review online, and they're going to refer you to others. Those 3 R's right there, that right there is how you build a successful junk removal business. And it takes time to do it, but the quicker you advertise, the quicker your guys are going to be consistently busy on work, and the less time you're going to be paying them for non-revenue producing activities. So what we generally recommend, if you have a little extra cash, go ahead and hire 2 to 3 guys other than yourself. Probably 1 full-time guy, maybe 2 part-timers. And that full-time guy, that's that guy you're going to want to keep busy. Now your part-timers, you still want to get them a certain amount of hours. The nice thing about college kids and second jobbers is oftentimes they're okay with 20 hours a week, 25 hours a week, maybe a little bit of inconsistency. That guy out there where you're his sole source of income, he needs his 40 hours plus a week. And if he's not getting it, he just economically has to go out into the marketplace and either find another job, which is going to cut into his availability, or he is going to quit. And when I say find another job, I mean find a second job, or he's going to find another job completely. He's going to quit on you and go to that job because he has to support himself and his family. So you need to keep that guy busy. Now, how can you keep him busy when you're not busy? Door hanger flyers, yard signs, standing out of the road twirling one of those advertisements, cleaning your trucks, cleaning up around the shop, volunteering at a charity with his uniform on, telling people about the work that your junk removal company does. Maybe he's in a kind of a sales role in a way. He's, whatever he's doing, he's parking the truck in a public area. He's trying to drive business so he can then drive revenue to the company to help you support him. So the part-timers, you're able to be a bit more flexible. Now, in your part-time guys, we generally like to give them at least 4 hours in a row. So if they come in and there's only 1 job on the schedule, which we never have anymore, but years ago when we faced this, or when we're advising people, we tell them try and get 4 hours out of your guys, because at that point it's actually worth them driving in and driving back home. They feel like they actually made money rather than just spending money and spending time driving to your job when they aren't getting paid. Now, one of the key things here you'll notice is you're not relying on just one guy. one of the large mistakes people make is you go out and you hire just one person. And the reason you do it is you want to make sure you can get enough time for that individual. You need to pay a bit more money to keep more guys busy so you have backup options. Because what you want is you want the ability to do same day and next day appointments. Now, when you schedule these guys and when you're scheduling your customers, let's say you're looking at your day and let's say Thursday is coming up and you have nothing on your schedule for Thursday. A customer calls you up and wants to schedule. And your slots are you normally have a 2-hour arrival window of 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, and 5 to 7. Instead of offering that customer every single one of those slots, I would chop off the 8 to 10, the 3 to 5, and the 5 to 7 right off the bat. I'd see if you can get them booked either on the 10 to 12 or the 1 to 3. And the reason we're doing that is, one, that 10 to 12 and 1 to 3 is going to keep you out of peak traffic times. So that's going to reduce the amount of time your guys spend in traffic. The other thing is you've now allowed yourself the opportunity to get another booking either directly before or directly after that job. So for example, if you scheduled an 8 to 10 appointment, let's say somebody called up and they wanted to schedule another job, that they couldn't do it before 1 o'clock. So all of a sudden you have to do a 1 to 3. So you got this 8 to 10 job you're doing, you have this 1 to 3 job you're doing. There's a chance that 8 to 10 might have actually been able to get 10 to 12 or 3 to 5. And then we like avoiding that 5 to 7 time slot if at all possible. It's a popular slot, but we try and avoid it. So you want to try and get your customer scheduled at opportune times for you to potentially add on a second job to keep you busy, 2 jobs in a row. So again, you can hopefully get all of your guys at least that 4 hours, and that's going to help avoid you having to pay out money when you're not getting income in. What we got?
Yeah, so on Facebook, Jaime asks, where can I apply to help with my town's tornado damage from this past weekend? I've talked to the main dog from our landfill, I've handed business cards to owners of property damaged, and I've sent our mayor a text and message via Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, insurance companies are going to be bombarded with debris cleanup needs here. They're probably going to be bombarded with more debris cleanup than they have vendors to do it in a reasonable amount of time. So I think you need to go directly to the homeowners insurance companies out there. Call them up, tell them you're licensed, you're insured, you're ready to work, and you can get on the stuff. Contacting homeowners works too, because a lot of times homeowners are actually the ones that do the hiring of those vendors. So, for example, you'll do your insurance claim, and then the insurance company is going to have that customer set up 3 different estimates, and then at that point the insurance you'll choose the person you want and you run it by the insurance company. As long as the insurance company gives you the go ahead that you can go, then you go and hire that person, then you'll do so. When you have a major storm that comes through like this, and I don't know how many houses were damaged. I know there's that tornado, I think it was El Reno, came through and just wiped out. It was narrow, but created a lot of damage. I know there's been a lot of tornado issues there. I don't know how widespread it is. Like, for example, when the hurricanes came into Florida about 2 years ago, that drew big federal money, and I don't know if federal money is going to help Oklahoma in this case, because I don't know if it's widespread enough. In that case, it's the SAM system. I ought to know this. Federal government contract, SAM. You can go to, I think this is it. Yeah, SAM, sam.gov. This is your way in to the federal government to get contracts with the federal government. The process takes a bit of time, but you can apply just online. There's a lot of insurance stuff you got to show. Everything's got to be worded just 100% correct. There's several different things that they're going to ask for here. If you get registered on SAM, then you can actually start being hired for these federal contracts. So that's a great way of going about it. Anytime FEMA gets involved, then the federal government goes to this SAM system of awards management, in order to make a hire. So Jaime, first thing, insurance companies. Second thing, get on SAM. Third thing, you can contact homeowners like you've been, because oftentimes they can choose you to come out and provide that estimate. Got anything else?
Yes. So on YouTube, we've got from Juan, can you elaborate on the call center service? I could sure use it right now. He is in Cancun on vacation.
Cancun, man. I'm jealous. That's awesome. So the call center, the neat thing about the call center, where's he at? Did he say?
One's in California.
Okay. Well, it's Monday. Right now, it's Monday through Saturday. We expect within the coming weeks, coming months, that we'll expand that to Sunday. It's Monday through Saturday. The center's open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So that gets you covered in the Pacific until 6 p.m. So the majority of your calls will come before 6. Anything after that can be sent to your phone. You can go to a voicemail. We can return it later, however you'd like. Call center is one of the neatest services that we have because it's pretty much just pay as you go. It's subject to change, but we're going to give you plenty of advance notice if they do. We've been doing this call center for close to a year now, but we really just started pushing it about the last month and a half to 2 months. We've got it staffed up now. We use the Workies booking platform. So we can also use House Call Pro, but we really, really recommend Workies. Aaron will put the link to Workies on the description if he hasn't already. So you would sign up for Workies. You're going to get a voice over IP provider. We can help you get up with Vonage. And then at that point, we can set a call schedule so the stuff's going to get forwarded directly to us. Now, we can take just your missed calls, or we can take all of your calls. Most people, some people start out on missed calls and they realize how nice it is not having to answer the phone all the time, and then they switch over to us full time. Again, guys, $250 a month, $19 per book job. Juan, while you're enjoying your vacation in Cancun, if you want to, give us a call after the show, or you can call now, really, because Shane can answer. It's 919-617-1975 to inquire about that call center. It will take us a few days to get it set up for you. Anything else? All right, guys. So, speaking of Workies, what we really recommend when you are hiring people, you really need to track their productivity. And Workies does an excellent job of that. So all of your guys are going to have their own account. So you can actually, if they can clock in at the start of the job and clock out at the end of the job. So it's actually going to track the time they spend on the job. So over time, you can see all of your different team leaders. You can see the amount of time they're spending on each job, and you can see their average sale. So when they're out there quoting, what's the average sale? And it's amazing. Just the other day, we found that somebody hadn't been with us too long, but this individual is quoting significantly lower consistently than many of our other team members. We have some team members averaging about 400 a job, 410 a job, something like that. We've got some that are around 385, 390, and then maybe some around like 360, and then this individual is like the low 300s, and he had almost the same amount of jobs. So what we do, the nice thing with Workies also is that our guys take pictures at the end of the jobs. So we're actually able to access all of the work orders he's ever done, and we're able to view those pictures. What we do is we have him take a picture of the back of the truck at the very end. You can do before and after pictures as well. You can submit as many pictures onto your work order through Workies as you like. And then we reviewed those end-of-job pictures, and we compared the actual amount of space that was taken in the truck to what he quoted. And a lot of the jobs he had gotten were smaller. He was just getting smaller jobs. I don't know if he's looking out or if he was unlucky, however you look at it. He was probably a little short. There's a few of them he was maybe a price point too low. He probably should have been averaging somewhere around 320, 330 a job with the jobs he had compared to like 300 or 290. But we were able to correct that. We were able to say, hey, this right here should have been this price point higher. So when you quote these jobs, if you're any uncertain at all, just go a price point higher. And then at the end of the job, if you really did overquote it, just bring it down. Going to be fair with the customer and bring it down. But you want to make sure you don't short yourself. You'd rather overquote it than underquote it. And you can always correct the overquote. You can never correct the underquote unless the customer adds more stuff. You need to know your numbers. When you guys turn this stuff loose to other people when you're not on the truck, you need to make sure they're quoting correctly. Also, those steps right there, that's a theft prevention. If you're watching those average sales, because if the average sale is going down, especially if you realize the average sale for cash is going down, there's a good chance he's reporting the job less, and he actually collects from the customer, and he's pocketing that difference. So that's another little anti-theft measure. That will, if you get enough employees, they're going to steal from you from time to time. You're going to get some that are going to steal from you. We've only ever caught one person doing that. I'm a realistic individual. It's probably happened more than that, but we've caught one guy. We fired one guy over it. But there are time to times we come up and something looks a little suspicious, and we call the customer up and we say, hey, just wanted to follow up. We always do follow-up calls. Say, hey, just wanted to follow up, make sure everything went well with your appointment, yesterday. And they'll say, great, yeah, it did. And then we'll say, okay, so if you wouldn't mind helping us, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the value of the service you received for the amount you paid of $350? And then if all of a sudden they say, wait a second, I didn't pay $350, I paid $450. Then you know, all right, hold up, this is a cash job, we got a $100 difference that somebody's probably pocketed. That's kind of a good little anti-theft measure that we practice. So pay structure, this is one of the most important questions that we get quite often. How much should I pay my guys? And we have experimented with being fairly cheap. When we first got started, we hired people at $9 an hour. We then went to 10. That was on the lower end for this labor work. And we got some people at 9 and 10 an hour. We've experimented starting people at 14 an hour. We got about the same amount of people at 14 an hour as we did at 9 or 10. Same quality too. It's not like we were paying 40% more, but the quality wasn't any better. The quality of the applicants. So what we did is we wound up bringing everybody's pay down to 12. Not everybody was already working with us, but new hires, we said we'd hire at $12 an hour. This has been recently, last 3-4 months. Hire at $12 an hour. When you get in here, you're basically going to have 6 weeks to become a team leader where you can drive and quote, drive safely and quote accurately. If you can obtain that, we're going to bump you up to 14 an hour at minimum. You could go potentially a little bit higher if your quotes are spot on, if you work through jobs quickly, if you're never tearing our equipment up, if you're not losing stuff, if you're great with customers, if customers are constantly complimenting the awesome service that you provide, then you're probably worth more than 14. You're probably worth 15, 16, 17, maybe 19 an hour, depending on how good you are. Longevity should really have nothing to do with it for the most part, other than the fact that a lot of times it does take some longevity before you really to build up trust in an individual, and trust is something that we pay for. It's nice knowing when we can turn somebody out there loose and know that they've got the company's best interest to heart, and they're not going to be trying to cut corners, steal from us, so on and so forth. Other than that, longevity has nothing to do with it. If we have somebody that's been with us 3 years and we have somebody that's been with us 6 months, and the guy with us, or 6 weeks, the guy at 6 weeks has proven to be a better performer than the guy at 3 years. The guy at 3 years pay is probably coming down. The guy at 6 weeks pay is probably going up. So this is a constantly changing scale, guys. You have to consistently evaluate the performance of your people. And if the performance is slacking, you need to address that. You need to tell them they need to get their shit straight or their pay is going to go down. And on the same token, if they begin to do a very good job, they're making you more money because they're doing stuff quicker. Everybody likes working with them. Your quotes are spot on. The customers love them. That individual deserves to be paid more. You need to recognize that work and get them a higher pay as quickly as possible. If you do not get that pay up, they'll put up with it for some time because, somebody like that is an individual that probably doesn't give up very quickly. They're going to stick with it. They want to prove to you they're going to earn it. But there comes to a point where they say, all right, I've done a ton here now. I need some recognition. And hopefully they come to you and say, hey, this is what I've been doing. Can I please get a pay raise? I think I've deserved it, and I'm willing to work even harder or do more if needed, but I'd like my pay bumped. Hopefully they come to you and do that. A lot of times what happens, though, if you don't recognize them, is their performance downgrades. They start leveling out to everybody else they're working with, and that happens because they aren't earning more money than the individuals they're around. So what's the lesson we learned here? We learned that pay, when it comes to hiring people for this type of work, actually does not seem, we've never seen any correlation whatsoever of the amount you pay with the type of people that you get in, which is it seems completely opposite of what you would expect, especially on Indeed. So what we found on Indeed is a lot of times people, and Indeed is the platform you probably want to use right now. With Indeed, you're going to have a lot of people that shoot resumes straight out to you. They might see your category or whatever, they shoot a resume out. They actually don't look into sometimes how much you're talking about paying. So as soon as we get that resume in, if it sounds like they have somewhat experience or it sounds like somebody would be halfway interested in, immediately upon getting that resume, I've got somebody in the call center. This is what you need to do also. You yourself or somebody needs to be calling immediately, within minutes, within seconds if possible, of that resume coming in. You need to be calling up that individual, and you're going to give them a phone interview right then and there. So right then and there, there's a list. Anything going to show when we're running your background check? Can you pass a drug test? We start the days at 6:30 a.m. and they can run until 7, 8, 9 p.m. at night. Are you okay working 10, 12, 14, maybe 15 hours in a day? We work in extreme cold. We work in extreme heat. We work in construction sites where there's no trees around. The sun is beating down on you. You're bent over picking up construction debris out of a bag. Are you okay with that? We go into houses with bed bugs. We go into houses with roaches. You go into hoarding houses that have a terrible smell. You're going to see mice. You're going to see wasps, hornets, snakes. What we're trying to do here, as I'm sure you guys have figured out, we're trying to scare away this individual. If we go through that entire thing and their answers check out, they answer the phone and they sound pretty professional over the phone, and we don't scare them away during that process, I need 3 references, and these references need to check out. So you're going to get 3 references from them right then. The next thing is we need an in-person interview. So let's schedule time for you to come in. I want to make sure you make as great of an impression on me in person as you do over the phone. And then the third thing is the background check has to check out. If you're going to do a drug test, which is up to you whether or not you do a drug test, you need to make sure you guys aren't showing up high to work in driving and doing that kind of stuff, because that's a major injury or accident waiting to happen. But whatever your policy is on the drug test, if you're going to do that, then it'll be tentative based on the results of that drug test as well. So you're going to get them in as quickly as possible for that in-person interview. You're going to have another set of questions you ask. The main thing you're looking to do here is, one, trying to get an idea, kind of evaluate their strength. Do they have the physical ability to do this job? Now, listen, I've learned long ago there are some scrawny guys out there that can lift more than the big, humongous guys that come in from the gym. There's also people in the gym that are extremely strong that don't know how to use their body when it comes to lifting items. And those individuals oftentimes, a lot of times they don't have the endurance. They might have the strength, but they can't do that 12, 15-hour shifts. So don't judge somebody just based on their size, but you need to ask them and maybe have some items around your shop and say, hey, let's see how you do handling this. You want to ease into it because you don't want them getting hurt in this process. Matter of fact, you might even have them sign a form saying as part of the application process, we're going to try and lift this item. If I injure myself, I'm not going to hold XYZ company liable because I believe this is something that I'm capable of doing. So the next thing you're going to do, if you feel like they have a good personality, you feel like they meet your your appearance standards, and then you feel like they're going to be a pretty good fit for this job, then you're going to get them out on the truck. And what we do is about a 2-week probationary period. We tell these guys that anytime in this 2 weeks, if you want to quit, let us know. We're going to end a relationship right there. No hard feelings. We're just going to stop. And we're going to do the same. So if we don't think you're going to work out, we're going to say, hey, man, appreciate your time last couple days, last couple weeks, last few hours. But this probably isn't going to work out. I don't think we're an extremely good fit. And after that 2-week probationary period, then at that point, you've got a bit more dedication to make sure you can train that individual up. But generally, within a few days, maybe even a few hours, you're going to have a pretty good idea, is this person going to be able to hang with this type of work? This is a grueling job, guys. I mean, all of us know it can be grueling. I think it's a little bit less grueling when you're the owner of the business sometimes. But it's a grueling job, and not everybody's cut out for it. Now, that being said, there are a lot of guys that love this job because they love the exercise. It's basically like going to the gym, working out, losing weight without you're actually getting paid rather than paying a gym membership. So there are plenty of people out there that love it. They love the camaraderie with the guys. They love riding around, seeing new places. They just love everything. Every day is just a bit different. They really get enjoyment out of that. You want to find those guys, and you want to hire those guys. And then you want to treat them correctly once you do hire them. Got any questions or anything at all, Aaron? All right, guys, so we're coming up. We'll be wrapping up here soon, so any last questions, please get posted. And when you hire these guys up, you want to try and get everybody to team leader status as soon as possible. So I mentioned before, we start guys out at 12, then we bump them up. If in 6 weeks they haven't hit 12, they get bumped back down they go down to 10. Unless for some reason we hired them, they don't have a driver's license. We knew they weren't going to have a license, but they're really good at moving. They're really personable with customers. That individual has potential to earn more money, even if they can't drive. Especially if they can't drive, but they can quote, because maybe we can pair them up with a nav that actually has driving ability and just isn't a very good at quoting. So when you first hire that guy, those new guys, set them out, put them. Generally, we like having 3 people. We like having that one guy paired with 2 other guys for the first couple days, and then that way you can ease in that new guy. You're not relying on him to do every single job.
We've got a question about probation on Facebook. Ivan asks, what do you mean by probation? Is that no pay, half pay?
No, so probationary period, we're still paying them the full amount that we agreed upon on hiring. Now, you can do about whatever you want to do on this. If you want to negotiate a lower pay, you can, but that's not really the reason we do it. We do it just so they understand that, hey, if you get let go here, one of the things we're trying to do is we'll have them sign something that says they can't file for unemployment within that time period or whatever. The main thing we're trying to do is make sure they understand this is a kind of we're testing you out. Basically, this is part of the hiring process, and we want them to understand, hey, if this isn't the job for you, we want you to leave. We've had guys leave within the first 2 or 3 hours of a day. We've had several guys, probably 8 or 10, leave after one day. And because part of your hiring process in this job is getting them out in the field on the truck, because you can't replicate that. There's no inexpensive way to replicate that until you just get them out there and see how they do. Okay, so how to find people. Indeed is the absolute best. Facebook is second. You can do some boosted ads on Facebook. We will get a link. I'm not going to have it immediately available. Aaron, remind me, and we'll post a link to a sample job ad. We can put it on JRA.com, and then they can actually review kind of a sample job ad that we have. We can definitely put that out. Craigslist is a distant third, fourth, whatever ranking that. Yeah, third. We don't even use Craigslist anymore. That used to be how we hired everybody, but Craigslist, at least in this area, we no longer even mess with. We're able to staff up pretty much all off Indeed, a little bit of Facebook here and there. So I touched on it before, aggressiveness, being aggressive, going after these guys. You need to go after these guys like you would after a customer sale. They're every bit as important, if not more, because these guys are going to allow you to scale beyond yourself, beyond your family, beyond your friends, and actually start building a viable business. You need to go after them with everything you got when you're trying to staff up. Always keep hiring. Always, always, always. Never stop that hiring process. If you get staffed up, just become extremely selective on who you choose. But always, always, always leave the hiring lines open. And treat everything like a sports team. The guys that perform the best get the most time and get paid more. The guys that perform the least, they ride the bench a bit more and they get paid less. If you treat it like a sports team and you'll always be hiring, your hiring woes will go down drastically. Like I said, your people woes will go down drastically. We're completely staffed up with junk doctors now. We still have the hiring process open, but other than Charlotte, we maybe could have 2 more guys in Charlotte. Other than that, we're pretty good until we're able to add more trucks, which we're waiting on truck bodies. So hire on personality first, strength second, and with a leadership mentality, and that's great, you do. But you'll find that a lot of times the guys you're going to be hiring on this, your $12, $13, $14 an hour worker, there's a good chance they're not going to treat the business like it's their own, because it's not their own. You will, from time to time, come across those individuals, and if you do, you need to pay them every single penny they're worth, if not more, in order to retain them, because that's going to be a great individual that you have. So when you have employees, you have to understand you need to set systems in place, you need to check behind them, you need to understand mistakes are going to happen, and you just need to fix the problem that occurs. If somebody's consistently not performing, you've tried helping them improve and they haven't, then they need to be shown the door. Politely, but they need to be shown the door. Your guys will go lame also. There's a good chance they will. So like a racehorse, Kentucky Derby was a few weeks ago. And horses are only going to have so many races in them before they no longer perform. And in the horse's case, they probably have it better off than our truck team guys, because they just get to go back to a farm and mate with a bunch of female horses to get more race horses. But in the case of your guys, it's not uncommon around the 2-year mark for them to start losing interest in the job, and that's when you just have a meeting with them. Say, hey, we've noticed it seems like you're not quite as happy here recently. Your performance has dropped off some. We need to get this corrected. Is there something we can do to help you get this corrected? What's bothering you, so on and so forth. And then just kind of make it clear. Say, hey, the performance we've gotten from you these previous 2 years, we need to continue getting that from here on. For you to stay here. If your performance has dropped off, and you don't think you're going to gain it back, well, hey, why don't you start looking for something something else? Think about it. You might want to start looking for something else, because we need that performance we had these previous 2 years. Because I found a lot of times your guys, your guys have actually quit. Your guys have actually quit probably several weeks or a month or two before they actually leave. So that means their performance has dropped way off. They leave several months after they've already quit. You want to try and identify when they've quit, try and get them started back, or show them the door politely, especially if they've been good for you over a few years. If that performance has dropped off and can't come back. Any last minute questions before we wrap here? Guys, May's normally a real busy month. I hope you guys had a great Memorial Day. I know if you're like us, we were closed Monday. We are completely stacked the next few days trying to keep up. So hopefully you're able to keep up. Hopefully you're in that position. I'm hoping each and every one of you is real busy out there. The Workies software, check out the link below. It's relatively inexpensive, guys. And the JRA package has got a special deal. It's slightly cheaper for a few of those different packages. You get a free 14-day trial. Of course, we've got the call center as well as Google Ads Management and SEO. We are happy to help people get your marketing going. Remember, this is the time of year to really advertise. You want to get as many customers in as possible right now. You want to get that second truck, second crew going, start kind of separating some of the day-to-day stuff from yourself. And then once you get into winter, hopefully a lot of these customers you're doing business for now is going to reuse you or going to refer you come wintertime, trying to keep you busier throughout the winter. So I'm Lee Godbold. This has been Making Hay with JRA. This is the Junk Removal Authority, and we'll be back on Thursday at 12 noon Eastern. Y'all have a great day.